Konnichiwa, my friends. Welcome back to the Yotsuba To reading series. We left off exactly here where Yotsuba To ran away because she saw a butterfly and wanted to catch it, so she ran after it. And well, these two guys, who are her father and her uncle, didn't really notice until the uncle wanted to drive away. And then, well, he said, well, if I find her, I'll bring her home. And yeah, well, he doesn't really worry about it because he said like, oh, if she's hungry, she'll come home anyway. So if you don't remember, he and his daughter are moving here into this new town, and a lot of things might unfold along the way. So now that she's gone, another character appears who seems to be a high schooler, and he's like muttering to himself, "Soya, これはどこに吸ってんのかな?" And then the conversation of these two unfolds. So let me read it real quick before we go through it, as always. こんにちは。もしかしてこちらに引っ越してこられた方ですか？はい、そうですけど。やっぱり。よ。私、隣に住んでおります。綾瀬と申します。よろしくお願いします。ああ、いえ、こちらこそよろしく。その段ボールゴミに出す分ですか？ああ、そう。したいんだけど。段ボールはですね、資源ゴミの日に出すんです。金曜日ですね。はあ。あそこの電柱のところネットがあるんじゃないですか？あそこに出すんですよ。ああ、そうなんだ。All right. Let's translate this and explain a little bit what's happening. So she says konnichiwa. I'm sure you all know what that means. And then she says もしかしてこちらに引っ越してこられた方ですか？もしかして means maybe or might. Might you be, for example. So she says もしかしてこちら, which is a formal form of ここ. So it's the polite form of here. Ni is the particle that you use with movement in a direction, and here, well, it's hikosu. And this verb is an action and it means to move. So she says hikoshite korareta, which is past tense here, and it's a combination of two verbs. So hikosu, which means to move, and korareru, which is to come. It comes from kuru, and it's kind of a special form that we will talk about in a sec. But first of all, so it's might it be that you are desu ka ne? So this roughly translates to you are desu ka. And she says もしかしてこちらに引っ越してこられた方ですか? And kata just means person in a polite way. So if you address somebody as action plus kata, so it just means, are you the person that did that action? Now back to this korareta. The korareta form looks like the potential form, so being able to do something, but this is not the potential form. The potential kuru and the passive kuru are actually the exact same. So they look the same, but they don't mean the same. Here it's the passive form of kuru, which comes from konai, so you just take this ko and then add rareta. Well, this is just something that is special to the kuru verb because it's different. The kuru verb is basically just a special case for the passive form. Other passive verbs are not conjugated the same. Very similarly, but this ko is not the same. Anyway, that's not the point here. The point here is that when you are talking about an action and you want to be polite, so politeness in Japanese usually means to be indirect, you use the passive form. And she is younger than him and they don't know each other, so she tries to be as polite as possible. So here she uses the passive form, even though it's not really a passive action that is done, because moving is an active action because they moved. So here's just to express politeness. It's the same principle of ittekimasu. So I go and then I come, this connection of two verbs is done by the first verb in te form and the second verb in whatever form you want the whole expression to be. So here it's in past form, so this whole expression becomes past form. So it just means moved. And then kata, which as I said means person, and then the question, are you? So, might you be the person that moved here? He answers with, hai, so desu kedo. Yes, that's true, but why are you asking? This kedo gives this impression of, okay, yes, that's true, but why are you asking? And she says, yappari, and that means, I thought so. Oh, I was right. So before it was uncertain, and now it's certain. So you can use this in situations like that. Yo. This yo is just basically a sound Japanese people make when they do something, like put something somewhere or stuff like that. It's basically like yosh or something. It's just a sound. Watashi tonari ni sunde orimasu. Watashi. So watashi is me. Tonari ni. Also notice that she leaves away the wa, which is pretty obviously missing here, but it's not important because it's clear that she's talking about herself. And then she says tonari ni, which means tonari means besides. So yeah, it would imply that she is the direct neighbor. And ni always has to be used with sumu, which is the verb to live somewhere. This is just a rule. It's not a movement in a direction, but it's just a rule that you have to remember. It's like ski with ga. It's just always the same. So sumu is always used with ni. Asoko ni sunderu. Swiss ni sunderu. Nihon ni sunderu. And she says, I live besides you. Tonari ni sunde orimasu. Now this orimasu is the polite form of iru. In usual sentences, you would say sunde iru, and she says sunde orimasu because she wants to be polite. And then she says her name, which is Ayase, here. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can see this better because the furigana are kind of small. Ayase to moshimasu. This again is super keigo, and keigo means polite speech. Usually here, if you don't want to be polite, you can just say Ayase desu. Definitely remember this sentence because you can use this in any situation to just tell somebody your name. Then she says, Yoroshiku onegai shimasu, which is the very typical expression for saying, let's work together well. And you say this to anybody that you meet for the first time just to be, well, nice, I guess. So let's work well together in our lives as our relationships unfold. I don't know. Something like that. Ah, ye, kochira koso yoroshiku. Ah, ye. Ye means no. And of course, no usually has two e's. So, ie, but this is just the fast, casual form. So he's talking very casually and she's talking super formally. Interesting contrast here. And she's like, oh, no, it's okay. Kochira koso means also here. So also from my side. Well, no, I should be the one saying this. And then he says, yoroshiku. Yeah. Same as this, but casual. Sono danboru, gomi ni dasu bun desu ka? Sono means that. So he holds it, so she says sono. If she would be holding it, she would say kono danboru. But because he's holding it, she says sono danboru. Gomi ni, so gomi is the trash, and ni is again an action that has a direction. Dasu, which is to throw out or just to put out. Bun, which is a part. Desu ka, which is the question. So, is this danboru? Oh, and danboru means this box that you put in your stuff when you move. This is the danboru. Yeah, she asks if that danboru is to be thrown away. Ah, so shitain dakedo. So is like that. So she said it, so he says so. If he would say what he wants to do, he would then say ko shitai. But she said it, so he says so. Again, the same principle as with soko or sono here. Again, so. So shitai, and shitai is the Thai form, which is to want to do something. So suru, but in I want to do. Shitai. Shitain dakedo. N is the short form for no. So shitai no desu kedo. Shitai n dakedo. This is only used in casual form. Instead of using no, you can say n. Now, of course, you could also say shitai no da, but many people just say shitain da because it's easier and quicker to say. If you don't really know what this is, it's basically when you want to explain something to a person that doesn't really know what you're talking about. So you are saying this as a new information for that person, or you are confirming that this is new information, even if she's asking for it. So if she asks you something, you can say, yes, I want to do that. You can use this no or this n in a casual form before da. And then just kedo, which means but. But this is used very often by casual speaking people in Japan that just want to say something slightly softer. So they're like, yes, I want to do this, but it's hard to translate, but it's more like, why are you asking? It feels kind of rude, but it's not rude in the Japanese language, like not at all. If I would say, why are you asking? It feels strange. It feels kind of like I would be defensive, but here it's not about being defensive. It's more like softening the whole sentence. Like it's hard to explain, but this, you will get used to this because this comes up everywhere in the Japanese language. In the polite form, you wouldn't have kedo, but you would just have ga, which is the same meaning. So, but, and it's used in the same way, but with polite forms. So, shitai no desu ga would be the polite form of this. All right. And then she says, danboru wa desu ne. So, danboru here becomes a topic because of wa. So, she wants to say, well, talking about danboru, shigen gomi no hi ni dasu n desu ne. Shigen gomi no hi ni dasu n desu. Shigen means resource, and this expression is basically used because Japanese people always split their trash religiously. So they always split their trash into 3 kinds of trash. This is basically recyclable waste. And she says, shigen gomi no hi. So this means the day of recyclable waste, ni, which is time related here. So it's a time particle, not the particle ni that usually talks about a traveling action, but here it's a time particle. Dasun desu. Dasu, as before, is taking out or throwing out. N is again the new information no that is shortened here. And as you can see, you can use the n also with the des. It's not just with the da here. So, but it's still kind of casual. So if you want to be super polite, you would put the no there. She basically says, you throw out the danboru on the day of recyclable garbage. And she does this in 2 sentences. So she kind of says, well, in terms of danboru, you throw them out on the day of the recyclable garbage. Then she goes like, kinyoubi desu ne. So it's on Friday. Ah, soko no denchu no tokoro netto ga arun janai desu ka? Here, asoko means over there. And then the no connects the denchu with the asoko. And denchu means the telegraph pole or the utility pole, I think you would call it in English. So it's basically like a telephone pole. And then the second no connects this expression, so that pole over there, and this word, which just means place. So tokoro just means place. And she says, the place of the pole over there. And usually you would have a de here. So the particle de is used when you talk about an object in a place. And she kind of omits this, but here you would have the de, and then talking about netto, which is a net, which would be in this place. So this is the place, and this is the object that is there. So over there is a phone mast, and that phone mast, well, so it's basically the place at that phone mast over there, there is a net, and that net with ga is becomes a subject. and also has to be used with ga anyway because of aru. And she says, there's this net, right? It's a complex sentence, but it makes a lot of sense if read fast. Ooh, PewDiePie uploaded. I'm gonna watch this, so I'll take a break. See you in a second. So, ネットがあるんじゃないですか is a polite form of saying something indirectly again. So by asking a question, it feels much more indirect. You could also just say ネットがある. This would be very direct and not as polite. あそこに出すんですよ. So over there, you can throw it out. 出す. Again, the yo particle, as discussed in the other episodes, is just when you are like the no particle in cases like these here. It's basically when you talk about something that you are explaining. And he says, ah, そうなんだ. That's how it is. This is a fixed expression that people use. そうなんですか? そうなんだ. Yeah, it just means, oh, that's how it was, or that's how it is. Made up of so that's how, nan, which comes from na no. So そうなのです would be the polite form. The nan is the same as this n here, the no or n, but it's used when you're using it with nouns, so not with verbs. Or with na adjectives, of course, because these kind of are like nouns in cases like these. Let's go to the next page. ちなみに、燃えるゴミは月木、燃えないゴミは土曜日ですから、他にも何かわからないことなどありましたら、遠慮なくおっしゃってください。君高校生だよね。はい、そうですけど。いやー、しっかりしてんなと思って。俺が高校の時はもっと、今でもしっかりしてないんだけど、しっかりしてください。すみません。ところで、こちらに住むのはお一人で？いや、小さい娘がいて、さっきちょっとどこかに消えちゃったんだけど。大変。Basically, they're talking again here about trash, which sounds strange. But ちなみに is an expression that I myself have never used actually, but it just means talking about this topic, or à propos, if that's a French expression, maybe you've heard about that. But it's basically like, yeah, so we're talking about the topic and then you're saying something to the same about the same topic. So I guess the English expression of ちなみに could be like in connection to this or something like that. 燃えるゴミは月木、燃えないゴミは土曜日ですから。And I see here there's a mistake, I think, in the furigana here. It should be yobi, not dojobi. That's kind of strange. So they basically say, so in connection to this, 燃えるゴミは, so 燃える means to burn, and here 燃えるゴミ is basically the burnable garbage, is 月木, and getsu comes from getsuyobi, so this is the kanji for getsuyobi that you would use in connection with these two kanjis to form the Monday kanji word. So getsuyobi and mokuyobi, which is Thursday. Again, same principle. And then here we have doyobi, which is Saturday. So she says burnable garbage is on Monday and on Thursday. And then we have not burnable garbage, so moenai gomi, the garbage that you don't burn. So this is a descriptive verb here and a descriptive verb here as well that describes this gomi noun further. So the not burnable garbage is on Saturdays. And then she says deskara, which is just, that's why. 他にも何かわからないことなどありましたら遠慮なくおっしゃってください。Again, very polite sentence. Hoka means other. So other than that, nanika, which means anything. Mo means also. So if there's anything else. And hoka ni is a single expression that is used like this. So you cannot say hoka mo. This is a fixed expression that has to be used like this. Hoka ni mo. So other than that, wakaranai koto. So wakaranai is again a verb that describes a noun. The noun is koto, and wakaranai is a verb in the negative form. So you don't understand, and it describes this koto. So koto means thing. Mono is usually an object, and koto is just a thing. It can be abstract as well. It could also be an object, but usually people use it in an abstract sense. So it's like a thing you don't understand. Nado means etc. So, and so on. If there is anything else, which comes from hokanimo, that you don't understand, enryo naku oshatte kudasai. Enryo is to hold back. So holding back is enryo suru. And here it's enryo naku, so without holding back. Of course, this is a noun, and it means to hold back, but it's the noun for holding back. And naku comes from nai, so there is no holding back. And then she says oshatte, which comes from the verb osharu. And osharu is the keigo verb for you. And you means to say. So oshatte kudasai means please tell me or please say it. Kudasai is of course just please. So this whole thing is, other than that, nani ka wakaranai koto, so something that you don't understand, nado, etc., exists, or if exists, without any holding back, tell me please. Or say it please. The next bubble is kimi, kokosei da yo ne. Kimi is you. So it's a word that often people use when they talk down to people in the social hierarchy. A boss would say this to an employee, for example, or somebody who is much older than another person would say to that person. Kimi, kokosei, and this is just high school student. Da yo ne, which is da, which is this. Yo ne. This da yo ne is you seek confirmation from someone, but at the same time you have an underlying sense of I know what I'm talking about. So the yo gives you somehow like, well, I think you are a high schooler, and the yo ne gives a sense of asking, because also you are of course forming it as a question. So this da yo ne with question, so going up with the voice, is always a sign that you're seeking confirmation of what you just said. And she said, hai, so like, yes. So desu kedo. So again, this kedo, like a polite way of like asking, why are you even asking me? Is this relevant? Or why are you asking me? And then he clarifies why. And he's like, yeah, this is like, well, I don't want to sound strange, I guess. It's like oh no, sorry, I mean, and then he explains why he asked. So he says, shikkari shiten na, here. And that means you are diligent, I guess. So one can depend on the person. That is shikkari suru, shikkari shiteru. This is an expression, a verb, that can be used exactly like this. And he says, shikkari shiten na, an observation. So the shiten na is, yeah, it's like an observation. So he is observing that she is someone he or anybody could depend on, so a dependable person. And then he makes a pause and says to omotte. So this is why I asked, are you a high schooler? Because this so desu kedo feels like, why would you ask? And then he says the reason, and then he says to omotte, which is like, oh, I just thought you're so dependable. And then he says 俺が高校の時はもっと and then he makes a break and rephrases あ、今でもしっかりしてないんだけど so orega, so I am or I was, koko no toki. Toki means time, so at the time of high school, right? The no just combines these two, so the time of high school. Motto, which means more. And then, well, he wanted to say something like, I wasn't as dependable. But then he said, well, even now, ima demo, even now, shikkari, so dependable, shite nai n da kedo. Even now, I'm not very dependable. And she just says, shikkari shite kudasai. So please be dependable, which is kind of strange. Shikkari shite kudasai, a very funny moment that kind of gives her the authority here. So she sounds like the superior now in this conversation, but she's still very polite. So it's interesting. Of course she has to be polite. He's older. But still, the way they're talking, she's talking down on him. And he says, ha, sumimasen. So he's even apologizing for not being dependable. Tokoro de, kochira ni sumu no wa o hitori de. Tokoro de is similar to chinamini, which came here. So it's similar. Both can mean by the way, but this has a connotation to the stuff that was said before. So this is in correlation to what was said or in connection. And tokoro de is made more like, oh, by the way, I almost forgot to tell you, in this kind of vibe. So it's not the same meaning, but it's similar usage. So here's this, by the way, kochira, which is the same as koko, but in polite form. Kochira ni, which is again the sumu required particle. So sumu definitely has to be used with ni. Kochira ni sumu no wa. And here again a connected particle, which we'll talk about in a second. Sumu no wa o hitori de. So yes, this just means, by the way, here living by yourself, kind of, if I would translate literally. But yeah, are you living by yourself here? So o hitori de. In Japanese, when you want to say something more politely or more beautifully, you would put an o or a go, depending on the noun, in front of it. So here, hitori, if you want to say it more politely, you would say o hitori. So you're showing your respect to the noun that you put this o or go, depending on the noun, in front of it. So she's very polite by saying o hitori de, and hitori de means just alone. Now back to this connected particle, which seems connected, but it's not really, because the no is actually connected to the verb sumu. Sumu is a verb, but here it's used like a noun, so in order to make it a noun, you have to put the particle no at the end of it. So you can take any verb in Japanese and make it into a noun by using no at the end. And then used as a noun, this sentence makes it into the topic of the sentence. Ah, yeah. 小さい娘がいて、さっきちょっとどっかに消えちゃったんだけど. This is the casual form of いえ, which means no. Oh, no. Small, 小さい, small. 小さい娘, that means small daughter. Ga, subject of the sentence. いて, which is the いる form, but then you presume if somebody says いて and then nothing, you can presume that the next word will probably be a verb. Because in order to connect to a verb, one would use the te form of the previous verb and then just add a verb to it. So ite is in te form, so you can assume that the next word will be a verb. And as you will see, that's actually the case. There is my small or a small daughter. And then he says, さっきちょっと. Saki means just before, and chotto means a bit or a little. Dokoka means somewhere. The ni particle, of course, is there when you're talking about movement into a direction. And the verb, which I was talking about here, is kiechatta. So the verb connected to ite is kiechatta, and this kiechatta is described further by this whole thing. So どこかに消えちゃった means disappeared to somewhere. And さっきちょっと is like just a little bit before, a little bit earlier, something like that. And here, it's actually connected to this verb. That's why here the te form is used. You could also just say 小さい娘がいて消えちゃった. This would be a totally valid sentence as well, but this information would get lost. This さっきちょっとどっかに or どこかに. Also, I said どっかに a few times, and that's just because Japanese people tend to not say どこかに, but どっかに in casual form. And this ちゃう here, I explained this in the video I did a week ago, actually. So the Japanese grammar hacks. This is てしまう. So 消えてしまう becomes 消えちゃう in the, or 消えちゃった actually here. 消えちゃった in casual form. So 消えてしまった would be the normal form. So that's the te form plus しまった. And it means to end up doing something. Here it would mean to end up disappearing. So she ended up disappearing. Now, when you connect two verbs in a sentence, they are usually consecutive. So you're talking about first she was here and then she disappeared. This is very important. So if you connect two verbs, you are kind of assuming that they were one after the other. First she was here, then she disappeared. If you wanted the other way around, you would have to first say kieru and then ite, or kiete ita, right? So she disappeared and then was here. So here he's basically saying, well, I have a little girl. She was here before, but just a little bit before you came, or well, just a little bit beforehand, she disappeared. And here again, this kiechatta dakedo. So again, this no is teaching her something, telling her something she doesn't know, just in generally conveying new information. And dakedo is again this why are you asking kind of thing. But people always use this. It's not a very strong statement. This is just saying something softer. If somebody says this, don't get offended because it's a very normal thing you would say in Japan, especially with people you don't know. So she says, taihen. So what? She disappeared? That's bad. So I think I'll stop here because it took me quite a while to get through these 2 pages, even though it's not that much, but it feels like I explained a lot of grammar concepts and I don't want to like overwhelm you with grammar concepts, especially now she was talking in a very polite Japanese, so it might be harder to understand for some beginner level people. Let me know if you think that this was way too hard or way too easy. It would really interest me to know so that I can improve on it the next time I do a video like this. Yeah, just let me know in the comments what you think, and I thank you so much for watching. Next time we will get into this page and further because she will stop and go looking for Yotsuba, which is a very fun moment and a lot of good and easy conversation that we can go into and really explain the fundamentals of Japanese, because Yotsuba, as I said in the very beginning of this series, she talks like a kid. So having kid Japanese is actually very beneficial as a beginner because you can start at the baby level without having very complicated and nuance-based expressions in the sentences like here, for example. So yeah, thank you very much for watching and I will see you in the next one. Mata ne!